everyone, it's JoJo from Mojo Jojo Plans, and today I'm doing part 2 of how to print onto classic Happy Planner paper. So today I'm showing you how to print any printable, not just my printable. The first video I did was mainly based around my printable, how I figured out what worked best for my specific printable. So I'll make sure to link that down in the description below, as well as a little card will slide over and you can click on that and check that version out. But I know there are a lot of printables out in the world, and a good majority of them, unless it's somebody that knows Happy Planner and, you know, deals with Happy Planner, they're not going to be already sized for Happy Planner. They're going to tell you, you know, put it down to this percentage in order to get it the classic Happy Planner size, and then you can cut it out, you know, of a regular size sheet of paper. But I wanted to figure out, how do you print directly any printable just on a regular size Happy Planner sheet of paper without having to use another paper and cut? And then this option also allows you not to need a punch, and you don't need to cut. Yeah, so that's like two steps that you wouldn't need to do if you could just print directly on the paper. So a few things that you will find in this video. I'm going to be showing you step by step how to create your own page size on your computer that would link to your printer, so that way you can just print on that size. It's already sized for it. Perfect. I will so I'll screen share that, show you step by step, and then I will take you over to my printer and show you how to load it. Now with these things, obviously not everybody has the same computer type. That means if you have a Mac, you know, anything that doesn't run on Windows kind of thing. So I have Windows. If you have a Mac, you're going to have to kind of adjust where you need to go. Things might be in different spots for you. So just keep that in mind. You're going to have to adjust. Same thing with printers. Where I insert my paper into my printer may be a different spot than where you need to insert it. And I'll explain more of that when we get over to the printer. But for now, let's show you what I'm going to be printing today. So I really just chose random printables that I already had loaded onto my laptop, just because I didn't want to download random other things. So these were already what I had, so bear with me. But the first one I had was just this little fitness tracker. I just found it was like one of those free printables. I literally typed in like body free printable of like your body, like body measurement tracker or something like that, and then this came up. And I had done this about a month ago when my husband and I started our diets and our new, and for me, like going to the gym a lot more often, so I had done this. So I figured out how to get this size down to fit perfectly on my classic Happy Planner page. And then I got Gabrielle's from Freckly Faced on Instagram. I got her sticker list, because her printable isn't automatically sized for a Happy Planner. It's one of those ones where you have to change the percentage. I think a classic Happy Planner is like 86%. I can't remember. I know it's like in the 80s for like classic size. So hers isn't already sized down for you like mine are, but I was like, there's got to be a way to get hers just on a regular, and how perfect I can, you know, show off another planner babe in this community and all of that fun stuff. So I figured out how to get hers perfectly printed onto a classic Happy Planner sheet. So I'm going to take you over to my laptop right now, and I will show you step by step how to create a customized page for your printer. Again, disclaimers, you'll have to adjust for whatever kind of computer you're running on and your printer, but let's go ahead and hop into that, and then we'll go over to the printer after that. Okay, so first things first, you need to open wherever your printers and device manager is. You're going to go there, and you are going to scroll down to the printer you would like to add this page size to. So I'm going to click on my printer and click manage. From here, you should get something along these lines that lets you kind of edit the settings of your printer. I'm going down to printer preferences. If you need to, you can go to printer properties, and from there, it should also let you get to preferences. Originally, that was the route I took, and then I discovered that preferences was right there. Then you should get something like this, and we get a paper quality tab. So I'm going to click on that, and then you can see the page size is currently set to letter, but there's custom underneath, so click that. I already have a classic Happy Planner size page made, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to make a new one. So I'm going to type in classic Happy Planner. And a classic Happy Planner is sized 7 by 9.25. So I'm going to type that in here, make sure it is set to inches and not the millimeters. And then once you're done, click OK. And there is our new size right there. I can click OK. That is all done. And I no longer need this little dialog page. So I'm going to click OK on here as well and get rid of it. Okay, so that's gone. I also don't need this. You can exit out of it if you really don't want it. My printables right now are in Adobe, so I'm going to open that up. Here is that like fitness body tracker here, and then I also have freckly faced sticker list here as well. Let's do the body just to show you, just for making life a little bit easier. So I'm going to go over to File and Print. Once that pulls up, you can see over on the right where the picture of my page is, it says 8.5 by 11. So that's obviously not the size that we want to print on. Make sure up at the top where it says printer, the same printer that you just added this page size to is the printer you have selected, and then go down to the bottom left-hand corner and click Page Setup. From here, I can choose my size, and there is my classic Happy Planner size page that I just made. Click on that and then click OK. And you can see over there by the picture, it changed to the 7 by 9.25. So now it is all ready to go. Make sure if you need to click current page or whatever you need to click, make sure that's ready. And then you would just click print. And that is it. Okie dokie, so here we are over at my printer. I have an HP OfficeJet printer, so mine has the scanner on top. My loading drawer is down at the bottom. So this is like the first thing you kind of have to figure out about your printer. Where do you load your paper, and is it the kind of printer when you stick it in, does it flip the paper upside, like does it flip it around and print on the opposite side of the paper that you set down? So that's kind of something that you're going to have to figure out for your printer. Mine is the kind of printer that you stick it in, it's going to flip the sheet over. So for that, I have to kind of adjust. If you're lucky, like my old printer, it was loading in the back, and the way I stuck it in is the way it would print out. So if I wanted to, you know, have it on a certain side of the page, I could just stick it in with that side of the page facing me, and it would print out on that side. This one, I have to put the front side down, face down, and then when it flips, as it prints, it'll print on the front side because it flips the page over. So that's step one of what you need to figure out. The other thing is what side do you need to load your paper onto? So mine is the kind, if you push it in, mine automatically puts everything in the center. I know some printers, like for instance my old printer, has the slider and it just moves to one side, and that would be the center of where the paper is going. So you also just need to kind of know that. So I have my Happy Planner sheet. So this is the front of my page, okay? So I'm gonna remember that's the front, because I don't know if you can see this little sliver of white down at the bottom, but I'm gonna count that as my bottom of the page. So here's my sheet of paper. I'm not going to stick it in this way, so with the thing on my left, I'm going to stick it in with the spine on the right, because when I print out my paper, it's gonna roll through this way. This side up here is actually going to be the top, so my page is going to come out upside down, and that's something also that you have to figure out of your printer. Which way, when you print something, does the sheet come out upside down or does it come out right side up? So that's kind of something too. So just little things that you should know about your printer before trying this. Yeah, so next time you print something, just watch the way the paper comes out. If you know, if the words, you know, are upside down when you're looking at it as it comes out of the tray, then you'll know that's the way that it comes out. Yeah, so I'm gonna stick it down with my spine over on the right side. Now, something to keep in mind, some printers don't like this. Some printers aren't going to like the fact that there's cuts. My printer is fine. If your printer doesn't like, you know, having these little edges, take a sheet of paper, cut it down to this size, and then put it behind it, and then lightly stick some tape, or you could probably just stick like a little piece of washi tape over this, just anything to kind of keep those little flaps from coming up. My printer seems to do just fine with it. So those are other things. So if your printer doesn't like, you know, loose pieces hanging out, and is really sensitive to that, then you might need to just figure out a way to tape it down. So I'm going to stick it in this way because when it comes out, it's going to come out this way, and this is going to be my top. So I'm going to stick that to the center of my printer, and I'm going to close these little brackets so that way I know it's closed on the center, and then I'm going to close it and go click print on my computer. All right, so there we go. We have it printed, and as you can see, it printed perfectly. It's still in there. Her border is over here because she has little like check marks just because we have it on dot grid. It's really, really hard to see. So there we go. So now it came out this way. So if I want it on the back, I'm gonna stick it in the same way. So you can see this is the top. I'm gonna stick it in just like this, sticking that in because it's going to flip, and my top is the first thing that's going to come out. So I'm gonna stick that in there, close it. And print it out. So there's my front side, and then there's my back side. Okay, so it is a little bit small, and that's because when I changed the page, the percentage is set to 80%. So let's try the same exact thing. Let's try 88%, because on my view that looked like it would fit a little bit better. So I'm printing that out to see what this looks like. All right, that looks grand. That looks a lot better compared to how small this one is. If you can kind of see the difference there. Lots bigger. So I changed it to 88% because when I did this page size, it changed it to 80% to make sure everything fit. But I did up it a little bit to 88%, and it looks a lot better. So let's go over to a screen share so I can show you exactly how I changed the percentage. Okay, so I want to try and see if I can get this page to fit a little bit better because it is in the center of it, but there is still like a lot of space and it kind of looks small in comparison to that page. So I'm going to open up my print again, and when it's set to its normal, it is set on fit, and then it says 80%. But I want to see if I can make this a little bit bigger to fit just a little bit better. So I'm going to go over to custom scale. We'll click on that, and you can see when it's 100%, it is way too big. It's going to cut off a lot of the Happy Planner. And it's also like the punches are going to be right over where that left-hand column is. So I'm going to change this down to 90 and just see what that does in the preview. That looks a little bit better, but you can see the H is still hanging off like a smidge, which I want it perfect. So I'm going to bump that down to 88 and try that. And that looks like it'll fit perfectly. But now you can see that's how you can change the sizing and play around using that preview. Alrighty, and there we go. So as you can see, this one over here is the one that I did the 88% on, and then this one's the one that I just defaulted to the normal 80%. Now this one's going to be a lot more center because that's what the computer defaulted it to, but with me changing it to make it a little bit bigger, it still fit. And really I just used the preview, you know, the little preview that shows you on the computer to kind of help me judge if it was going to fit or not, and I just literally notched it down as you saw in my little screen share there. It's a lot easier than I actually thought it was. Again, your two things that you're going to have to really just battle is figuring out exactly how your printer works, knowing the way that it, you know, that you're supposed to insert the paper, which way does it come out, so you know which way you need to flip it, and just kind of go from there. So that's the most helpful. And then again, if you don't have a Windows computer going off of Windows, then you kind of need to figure it out what it would be for a Mac type of computer. So those are just the two things that will kind of vary. You know, you just need to know your printer and then know your computer. But I think for the computer, it should be around similar steps that you'll need to do. You just want to make sure that you're really connecting to that specific printer that you are using. And if you were to like do it on a different printer, you would need to set those settings for that individual printer. The settings that you did for one printer won't be the same for another printer. So I went ahead and also printed another printable. This one was one of the free printables from the Happy Planner. This is in their coloring pages. I'll leave the link to these down below. So you can print these ones on the pages. However, something that I noticed when I did this one. So when this one is set to the normal 80%, it's wanting to go all the way to the edges, meaning it would try and go into the border. So I made this 70%. So just like I showed you in my screen share of how to change the percentage. So I will, with that being said, I will say that this method will work for most printables, especially printables that have just something like this, you know, that goes in the center of the page, or even these, because, you know, there's not a big border, there's nothing going, and this was already centered on the page that it was from. Whereas this one was like, it's meant for like an entire sheet of an 8.5 by 11, and so it went, you know, it went to end, and because of that, when it was sized to the normal 80%, it wanted to print over here. So I did have to make it smaller in order to fit it onto this page, but it does still work. So you might have to adjust and play with the percentage, and again, use that preview, you know, use the preview that it gives you of every time you change the percentage to make sure it is going to fit in that space. Make sure you're leaving a little bit of room. I probably could have done like 71%, and it would have been like right at this edge here, you know, right where the punches are. So just kind of keep that in mind. You might have to play with it, especially if it's a printable where, you know, the design goes all the way to both sides, both edges of the paper. So you'll definitely have to play with it there, but at least you know for simple things, yeah, simple things you'll be able to print on. So I definitely will go ahead and say this method will work for a good majority of printables. And a lot of the printables I see are like a budget tracker and all those things, and a lot of the times those don't go edge to edge of a paper. Those are going to be like centered in the middle of a paper, so you'll definitely have a lot more luck with those types of things. Or if you make a schedule, and if you're making these printables yourself, just remember to have your design be completely in the center of the page, and then from there you can make it a little bit bigger to fit your page a little bit better, but then you don't have to worry about making it too small so that it doesn't fit, you know, perfectly. So I will definitely say it works for a good majority, but again, it'll just kind of be trial and error. But I do hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope it is super helpful and that you are able to now figure out better ways to print onto Happy Planner pages. You can use all the types now, right? So this is dot grid, and I know there's a couple Happy Notes that are just sketch paper. That would be great, because, you know, some of these spines are just adorable. So, but I do hope this video was helpful. If it was, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I hope I'll see you in my next one. Bye!